Say That, Part 3. Hello, everyone. Tonight, Jon and I have another episode for you. And this episode, we are discussing the decluttering of our lives. Jon apparently has a lot of stuff to get rid of. Me, on the other hand, not so much.
So why don't I give you some of my stuff?
To keep up with him, as I always do. Jon, welcome back.
Well, thank you so much. And if you're looking to declutter, maybe actually, no. If you're going to
start with you, Jon, why don't I declutter?
Immediately, that's it, out the door.
Of you.
I think that most of your listeners would probably respect that, and I don't think that's a bad idea. Even I would actually respect that. In fact, by the way, I'm going to say our producer, but it actually is really your producer because I don't have a producer without you. I was given an envelope before the show started, and I was told to read this on air before we actually get started doing anything. So if you don't mind, can you give me a second? I'm going to open the envelope. I'm just going to read. I have no idea what's in here, but this is what I was told to read. Oh my God, this is really bad. Important safety information. I can cause allergic reactions, sometimes severe, listening to this podcast. Please call your health provider or seek emergency help right away if you develop any of the following symptoms or serious allergic reactions: trouble breathing or swallowing, raised bumps, hives, rash, itching, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, arms, or throat. I can cause severe diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting, especially within the first few minutes of listening to my podcast. Tell your doctor if any of these conditions occur. I am associated with an increase in depression. In clinical studies, some patients reported depression or suicidal behavior in listening to my podcast. The most common side effects of my podcast are diarrhea, nausea, upper respiratory tract infection, tension, headache. These are all possible side effects. Ask your doctor about other potential side effects. Tell your doctor about any other effects that may bother you if it does not go away. Oh, and tell your doctor if you may be pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or plan on breastfeeding. So apparently there's been some issues and complaints from listeners about things that I've said. So I just want to make sure we had that disclaimer out there so they're well aware of what could potentially happen. And they have the ability to shut it off whenever they want.
Geez, Jon. I thought I was the only one you had that effect on.
Apparently not. When the producer gives you this and said, you cannot start talking on air until you read this disclaimer, that's a problem.
Well, to tell you the truth, I took an
anti what?
Nauseating medication.
That Dramamine? You took a Dramamine?
Yes, before you came.
Is that because I take you on such a wild ride?
Just so that I can get through this segment.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm someone, when I commit to something,
yeah,
I will stick to it. But you're a really difficult pill to swallow.
Yes, I've been told that before. This is not the first time.
But I'm going to do my best because I want to bring the very smart and together with the crazy, scattered, nauseating, making you sick element to the podcast. And that's what you bring.
Yes, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, I think. So let's talk about our topic at hand. Topic at hand is, what did we say it is?
Decluttering.
Decluttering. Okay. So I think that when...
What does that mean to you?
Oh, is this an interview?
Let's just, when people talk about decluttering, a lot of times they're talking about getting rid of junk from their homes.
Junk and stuff.
It's a junk.
So I'll tell you, I think when people see that title of the show, I think that's exactly correct. They're going to think of physical things. Like you go into a room, it's packed with boxes, and you're like, I got to just go through this and get rid of this stuff. Life is so much easier. What is it, like feng shui or something? When things are just flow nicely and freely without clutter.
To be positioned properly, mirrors shouldn't be certain places. Doors should be red.
And no clutter and garbage and stuff in the way, right?
So the energy can flow.
Exactly. So I have a very different position on decluttering it because I'm not coming from the perspective of stuff that has to be gotten rid of. I'm looking more at what I would refer to as human clutter. And when I say human clutter, I'm talking about, I made a decision a number of years ago in my life that, look, I'm reaching a certain milestone age. And obviously nobody lives forever. And why not maximize the time that you have and do things that you really enjoy and not be forced to do things you don't want to do? I mean, look, everybody has certain things they have to do. family obligations, work obligations, things like that. But isn't it so much nicer and isn't it so much easier and so isn't it so much more freeing when you wake up every morning and you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to do today what I want to do today, not things that are being forced on me.
I do that every day.
Well, that's great. Then you're living the lifestyle that I would love to live. Because I try to do that, but it's a process. So what I decided years ago was I'm going to take this wide net of friends that I have, and I'm going to re-examine every one of those relationships, and I'm going to boil it down to the core group of people that I really enjoy and that I really want to be friends with, and slowly ease out all the others, the ones that I say, oh, they invited us to this, I don't really want to go to that, or the ones that, or the times where I say, oh, they had us at their house, we have to have them back, and I'm like, I just don't want to have them back. I don't want to give up an afternoon with people that I don't want to be with. So that human decluttering process, I felt, began freeing me up from all of these obligations of things that I didn't really want to do. Now, you're a really nice person. You probably would never do that, but I had really no issue with doing that. Does that make me a really bad person?
Yes, but I do what I have to do.
Oh, so you've done things like that before?
Very gently.
Oh, gently.
And sometimes I just freeze people out.
The icing process.
The icing process.
How does that icing process go, and what are the criteria you use to ice? What do they have? What does the person have to do in order to get iced? Let me get notes. Hold on, let me get a pen. I'm going to take some notes.
Long enough. What I give, and all they do is take and just assume that I'm always going to be their doormat, duster, vacuum cleaner, whatever.
Right.
Then I decide, okay, termination time.
Do they get a physical letter in the mail of termination, or is it just
they just stop hearing from me?
Is there some sort of runway, like time frame, or is it just an immediate closing of the door, locking, bolting, deadlock, goodbye?
Recently, I had someone who took me for granted for 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
17. But because I'm really patient, and if I'm your friend and I get to know you very well, and even though the relationship may not be in balance, if I see a need in you, I feel as a friend, my love should be unconditional.
Meaning if I need you emotionally or something like that.
Or maybe just need me to talk to you on the phone, do a favor, listen to your issues and try to help you work through them. Whatever friendship means, I will be there if I really know your heart and I know this is a good person, they're really struggling and they need me.
But once you feel the job is done, then you're out the door.
The relationship or the friendship may not be balanced.
Right.
I can stick around because I know your heart. But when I see that it's someone just taking me for granted and just taking, and I'm not saying if I do something for you, you owe me something.
Right.
I don't believe that. I believe you do good all the time. But when you need good or your children need something, the universe will take care of them. That's what.
So you don't keep tabs on favors that you've done and expect payback
for you and expect you to do something back for me.
So
I do it because I see the need.
Now I hear you. So 17 years was this? I mean, we're not using names or anything. Was this a relationship, a friendship, or what was this?
Well, friendships are relationships. So it was a friendship.
I think relationships are based on friendships. I don't think you'd have a good relationship without a friendship first. Otherwise, it's not.
So this person started to push the envelope a little too hard and too far.
Right.
And one morning I just woke up and decided, no more.
So no prep time for him. It was just
Nothing.
You were gone.
Just gone like that. And I have the ability to do that.
Okay. Well, I will. I'm going to keep that in mind because I don't want to be victimized where all of a sudden I show up at the studio like, all right, so we're doing podcast number 4. Hello, anyone? Oh my God! Look, the whole place looks a bit. I see lights hanging, no bulbs, furniture's all gone. She actually left. Okay, so is that could happen? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel that first of all, you want to be compassionate, loving, understanding, but you also have to have boundaries because there are people who have no respect for other people and all they do is take. And in this situation, this person put me through some stuff that now in retrospect, I needed my head examined for sticking around. But
Did you?
I thank the person now for the lessons learned,
Mm,
and I can promise you, no one else is going to get to pull that on me again.
mm,
So thanks to them.
mhm. Thanks to them. Go ahead.
What was that? Hold on. So anyway, John, this is what I believe. I believe it's okay to be kind and compassionate and loving and supportive and kind, but you have to know when it's time to stop and declutter.
Yeah. So
When
this.
people start taking you for granted and pushing the envelope too far, not respecting your boundaries, not having respect for you, your feelings, and your life, it's time to
Declutter. But I feel like this is all being directed at me. Like you're looking at me and directing all of this energy at me as if I'm about to be iced out and decluttered. And I mean, look, like I said, you're doing me a huge favor by having me on the podcast with you. And I did indicate to you that I was using you to get famous, and I apologize and I retract that statement. And now I'll do anything to get back into your good graces because I do not want to be removed and iced out starting now.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you like me to look at the door and tell the door what I was saying? Just asking.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, so how many? This is when human decluttering always hits home to me. Although I love going out and having a good time, I like to do it on my terms, things I want to do, right? The worst feeling in the world for me, and being that we have absolutely nothing in common, we see nothing eye to eye. There's almost no reason for us to even have dialogue outside of this podcast because what are we even going to talk about?
Exactly.
What's your feeling when you get an invitation in the mail to, let's say, a wedding? I mean, I was going to say bar mitzvah. I don't think you get invited to too many bar mitzvahs in your circles.
I've ever been invited to one.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't either. So bar mitzvahs, weddings, different kinds of ceremonies and stuff like that. I bet, and this is just a guess, that my bet is that you relish those opportunities to get dressed up all fancy and head out the door into something where you can go out and have a good time. Is that correct? Am I accurate about that?
On some levels, it's correct because I love people. So any occasion that would bring me together with people, and this is a happy one, I would enjoy doing it.
Okay, see, I don't like people very much, and I tend to try to run away from most people. So I get that invitation in the mail, and you know what my reaction is? Oh shit, another Saturday night destroyed. Great. Why are we friends with these people? Let's get rid of them. A bar mitzvah, disaster. A bris, you know what a bris is?
No.
It's a ritual circumcision. It's a party, whatever, right? Okay, you think the kid wants a party for that? I get that invitation. These things are so horrible and horrific to me that a Saturday...
Change your religion, John.
No, it's weddings also. That's universal. Saturday night destroyed, Thursday night destroyed, Sunday afternoon destroyed. That's what I look at. My day or my evening or whatever it is destroyed. Now, when you work and you have a job, you know, you have limited free time. And if you want to maximize the enjoyment during this free time, you want to do what you want to do. And I'm telling you, I see that invitation. I want to throw it right in my fire pit and burn it. And there was a time actually where I said to people in my family, I'm like, you know, these kids, bar mitzvah is done at age 13 for boys. I said, you know, we should not be friends with these people until their kids are at least 14 or above, so we don't get invited to these things. People think you get offended when they don't invite you. In reality, I am thrilled when I don't get invited to something. Again, I'm not telling you.
But you are in the minority.
Am I?
Most people get offended if there's a big party or a wedding.
Yeah.
And they're not invited.
Oh, not me.
They take that like the people don't care about them or the people are trying to ace them.
Yeah. Have you ever been invited to a wedding on Super Bowl Sunday or on Thanksgiving Day? Those are the worst offenders.
People don't get married on those days.
Jewish people do. It's way cheaper. Yes, we do. Maybe normal people don't, but when you're value shopping, you most certainly do. Thanksgiving, Super Bowl Sunday, these are huge days for Jewish weddings.
So let me get this straight. In a Jewish person's mind, we'll save money even though half the people we want to come won't come.
Absolutely.
Because they
couldn't care less
between the Super Bowl or whatever's going on and our wedding.
Yes. If you don't have enough courtesy to allow people to enjoy family gatherings and holidays and events that people want to spend with their family, and you're forcing them to drive to a venue to be somewhere they don't want to be, I think that is beyond disrespectful. I have never, ever been offended not invited to something, not being invited to something. I am so thankful when I am not invited because I don't want to be there.
I'm glad I know this because I'm planning a few parties and
No.
your name is not going to make the list.
No.
You just on the World Wide Web. If you get offended,
No.
you are invited. So tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay, but there's a difference. There's a difference. If it's, let's say, okay, I don't need to go and see your kid get married. Okay, that should be an intimate gathering with immediate family, close relatives. That's it. Draw the line.
When you got married,
Yeah.
did other people come?
Yes.
I
I didn't want a wedding like that. I said to my father and my father-in-law, I said, is there a cash option? I don't need to do a party. I don't need to inconvenience everyone. What are we talking dollars and cents to make this go away? That was my offer on the table.
John.
Yeah.
You are
abnormal.
A certified hypocrite.
I didn't want it. I told my kids, I have 3 kids. I told each and every one of them, there will be a cash option offer on the table to not do this. I don't want to have people hate me and be inconvenienced by me and pay tolls and gas money and all this kind of stuff in order to just be somewhere that I know they don't want to be.
People.
Then who's it about?
You.
Right. Exactly. It's about me.
You are a Grinch.
There's someone at my job. It's funny you should say that. You're not wrong. There's someone at my job that calls me the Grinch and actually bought me a mug with a green Grinch logo on it.
Can't be wrong. Maybe you need to start wising up.
It's more than 2. I'm just giving an example of someone that actually put their money where their mouth was and got me the mug.
So,
yes.
And you're proud of yourself.
No, I'm not proud. I'm just saying, listen, I'm being honest.
Is that being Jewish? Because
no.
I've read a lot of books about Jewish people, and anybody who's Jewish listening to this, please do not kill me. I do not know much about the religion.
Oh, I'll tell you something.
I am learning a lot about it recently, but
here's how smart we are.
They have a reputation as being penny pinchers.
So here's how smart we are.
And John, if he ever visits me, tries to get the $2.
The toll? That toll pisses me off.
From me.
It's $4, $2 each way.
Because he has.
I never actually collected it. I'm just sending you to collections because you haven't paid. No, I joke around about that, but no, I am serious. I am serious.
But you don't.
Would you consider moving? Can we move the studio elsewhere just so that I don't have to pay the toll? Hey, by the way, how about that when you live, let's say, on Long Island, and someone makes a wedding in New Jersey, the Verrazano Bridge in and of itself is like $29 or something. And then you have the gas and the toll. Before you walk in the door, it's $100 in gas and tolls.
Well, just so you know,
I deducted from the gift.
Just so you know, I'm running a tab and I'm going to reimburse you.
I'm not going to take it.
You had to come.
Give it to charity.
Do a show.
No, give it to charity.
To you, John, because I have to get my costumes clear.
Right. And by the way, come to your house. I didn't realize you live in a radio studio.
I'm in the studio where here.
So, right, we're talking about how Jews deliberately design things to save money. Okay, so Halloween's in October, right? October 20 something. Okay.
October 30th, I think.
Oh, what, 31st? 31st, right? So on Halloween, it's a big thing to like dress up, costumes and stuff like that, right? Right. Okay. So we have a holiday also that falls out in December, which is also a dress-up holiday. But we buy all your Halloween costumes 75% off on sale because your holiday's over, and the retailers don't realize we have a holiday right around the corner. You see how that's designed?
Now I get why you're Jewish. Has nothing to do.
Pure financial reasons. No. It's purely a financially based decision.
Saving dollars.
Yeah, purely financial. Okay, I think we got off topic a little bit. Clutter. So we talked a little bit about human clutter. Mm-hmm. It seems that you seem to be a little bit of a human hoarder, actually, instead of clutterer, because you did mention that you allow people to stick around a lot longer than they have. So that's actually like kind of human hoarding instead of cluttering. But you ever go?
Since hoarding, I would say that I have a lot of compassion and I'm able to emulate people in certain situations. Right. And have compassion for what they're dealing with. But I think in that particular situation, there was some insanity going on
Well,
because
that's a unique, if it's gone on for 17 years. Well, by the way, if it's gone on for 17 years, obviously there was some sort of serious connection there because you don't have someone sticking around for 17 years that
no,
is just.
I felt the person really needed rescuing. The person I felt needed.
Hmm. Well, we'll cover that on another segment. I don't think that's appropriate to cover on the decluttering episode. We'll do a segment on relationships. You want to do a segment on relationships one time?
It was a decluttering. It was a decluttering.
Well, in the end, but for 17 years, okay. So you ever go to, we talk about, let's get to physical clutter. We talked a little bit about feng shui. Is that feng shui?
Feng shui.
Feng shui.
Feng shui, people say both.
Well, all right. You ever go to one of those people that have like serious mental illness and they have a hoarder house? You ever walk into one of those houses? Okay. That is horrific. People that just don't have the ability to clean up, don't have the ability to throw things out, and they just collect and they collect and they collect. Now, I have a neighbor like that where you walk into this house and it's just stacked from floor to ceiling, piles and piles of shit. When is the next time you're going to need your papers from 1965 when you're living in the year 2022? Is the Lilco electric bill from 1965 really something you need to pull out of your files at some point? A bank statement from 1959 from your parents? This is what this person's dealing with. Now, I also know somebody that.
I hope they're not listening to this.
No, he doesn't even have internet access. He asked me one time for my Wi-Fi code so he could steal my signal from my house. I wouldn't give it to him, of course. Yeah, I didn't know somebody else that goes to feed somebody's cats in the neighborhood when they're away. And this house also, a hoarder house. And by the way, it's much more prevalent than you would think.
Oh, yeah.
And it is mental illness. It's not just, a fear of throwing something out because you might need it. There is some serious issues that are behind that. And I'm actually not making fun of it because it is a serious thing that people really need help with, but it's debilitating. When you have to walk in your house and you have to like walk in some sort of weird zigzag pattern just to be able to reach the bathroom, and it's taking you through the kitchen and the bedroom, down through the basement, like through like almost like a cornfield, a maze to get there. I mean, at one point you realize there's a problem here. How does it even get to that point? That's what I'm concerned. How does it happen? It's like someone that weighs 600 pounds. Like there was a threshold you crossed. You weighed 150, you weighed 175, you weighed 200.
People have problems, like medical problems that cause that.
Well, yeah, but is there no one around to step in and say, look, let's work on this before you get to 600 pounds?
Do you think it's that easy with people who have these, like you said, debilitating hang-ups?
Hey, such a downer. You have to make me feel bad.
No, serious. I mean, I've known some of these people,
terrible.
And it's just like a person who has an addiction.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
Well, funny, addiction is another thing like that also. When you look at addiction, I know someone that had some addiction. Well, we all know people that have had addiction issues, whether it's alcohol, drugs, smoking, whatever it is. And when you go to a therapist in modern therapy, I mean, I don't know what past therapy was like, but I know with modern therapy, it seems like they always give a title to something, almost as like a cover story as to what this person's problem is. A drinking problem,
You have to be able to categorize what the person.
Categorize, that's exactly it. They're an alcoholic, they're a pedophile, they're a drug addict, whatever it is, it seems to.
Behaviors match certain titles. And that when you have a conversation about what's happening with the person, it's relatable.
But the behavior happened before the title. I think the title came later on. We say,
the title
oh, this guy is sick, he loves young boys. Well, we're gonna what do you want to call him? Let's call him a pedophile. That's good. So when you go for therapy, they're like, well, it's not his fault. He's a pedophile. He likes young boys. No, the underlying mental illness is what the problem is. And when it comes to addiction, even again, that's a whole other topic. But there's no personal responsibility anymore. Sometimes when I went to the therapist, I said, why don't you tell this person you're dealing with, you're calling it an alcoholic, but really what you are is a person that's picking up alcohol in the morning and make a conscious decision that I'm going to drink this and fuck my whole life up. So
it's not that easy though. There's something in their body craving it.
There's something because they expose themselves. If somebody is doing cocaine or whatever drugs they're doing, they didn't have to do that. They made a conscious effort to try it. They liked it, and now they have almost a disease. Well, it's called a disease that they're hooked on it. That's not a good thing. So we call it an addiction or a drug addict, whatever it is. But the problem is that they make that conscious decision every day when they wake up that this is what I'm going to do. And you feel bad for the person because they got themselves into this loop and they're stuck. But it's I think a lot of these things are tied back, whether, back to our topic of clutter and declutter. It's a lot of it happens to be mental illness, and we're joking around about certain things, but underneath the hood, there's an element of seriousness to it, and it's scary. And I think people that know people like that should contact family members of those people and really try to get involved to make it better.
It's not that simple. A lot of them, the families know, but they don't. They're beyond help. You know what I'm saying?
Is anybody really beyond help?
I think it has to do with the person. The person has to want to stop.
Well, nobody.
You can't bring intervention on somebody who doesn't want it. I've watched it happen.
Well,
every case is different.
I've been tempted to just park a dumpster in front of my neighbor's house and be like, listen, go away for the day. By the time you come back, this fucking place will be empty, clean, ready to go. We start fresh from scratch. Let's do this. And he's like, no, I can't. Well, why can't you? I go, you don't have to do any of the work. I'll do all the work. He's like, no, there's things in here I might need. I'm like, I don't want to use his name, but let's call him Michael.
Joe Blow.
The Joe Blow. The Joe Blow, you're not going to need this. You haven't used or touched this item, this Maxwell House coffee maker from 1947 that your father brought home from Germany after World War II. You're not going to need it. Let's throw it out. Let's sell it. You want to sell it? We'll have a tag sale.
Do you see why something like that particular item you described?
Oh, that's a collectible. Okay, fine. It was a bad example.
You can see where he would have an attachment.
Okay, but how about the fax machine from 1982 that's in 6 pieces and broken? There's no phone part even on it anymore. There's no plug. If you can't plug it in, what are you gonna? It's like, where is that fax? How is that fax going to possibly get to that machine? There's no electrical outlet. There's no plug. There's no phone. It's not connected to anything. The memory of what? One time I got a fax in that machine and I just can't let go. I mean, really, these things are absurd. So I do kind of have a solution. And this neighbor of mine, I have been helping him with this in a way. And in a little bit of an underhanded way, because it does have some cool shit that I want. And I keep telling him, like, this is garbage. You should really get rid of this. But it's a Gibson guitar. I know, but it's not good. Let me.
You play the guitar?
No. I always wanted to. That was I used to, actually, when I was a teenager. I did take guitar lessons and I did start to play. And I have 2 regrets of things that I want to do in my life that I never did. One of them was to be an awesome guitar player, and the other one was to be a black belt in karate. And although I did take judo and those things that, I never pursued it to the point where I was like good at it and can like beat the shit out of somebody that approaches me on the street and whatever. But those are 2 things I always said that I wanted to do that I never did do. But we'll cover that in another topic because that leads into a whole depressing thing. So this neighbor, so here's the solution that I had. And this actually, I did it kind of like I was explaining, for selfish motivation because it was cool stuff that I wanted. But what I did with him is I would help him do garage sales, right? I'm like, look, you're never going to use this stuff. Let's bring all the stuff you're never going to use, bring it outside, throw it on some tables. I'll put some signs up. People drive by. You'll get rid of it and you'll make some money.
How old is this guy?
65. What'd you think? He's like 20?
Yeah, I thought he might be older, like in his 70s or something.
Oh, no. He's like 60, 65, and he still never been married, still lives in the house where he grew up with his parents' house.
No,
parents
you get why he's hoarding the stuff. It's probably a lot of sentimental things to him.
I don't know. He lives with a brother also who's never.
Junk for us is really something.
All right, listen, we've done garage sales. The guy's taken in thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's no end of stuff. It's a relentless. It's like a warehouse that just never. You know how like sometimes you get this big salad, start eating the salad and it feels like you've been eating for a half hour. And you look at the salad, you're like, I didn't even make a dent in this. That's what this house is like. No matter how much shit you haul out into the driveway.
Is he constantly buying new stuff?
No, he doesn't buy anything anymore. That's what I don't understand. I think stuff gives birth to other stuff in the house. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, there's something crazy going on. So, but actually, it's a good idea. And they used to call it converting your trash to cash. where you just take your garbage instead of throwing it out. You're actually doing something good, because what you're doing is somebody will buy it that wants it or that needs it, or maybe another hoarder that comes along and buys it for their house. But you turn it into money, you get rid of it, and you're doing good. It's win-win for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Not such a crazy idea, right? See, I'm not such a bad person. I have some good ideas.
I think it's nice of you that you are taking his junk to heart so serious.
Well, like I said, that Gibson guitar is phenomenal. There was some Disney lithographs, like one-of-a-kind stuff.
Tell him you're interested in his guitar.
Not just say, I'll give you $5 for take it off your hands. He's like, all right, sure.
But why haven't you bought it for $5? Is that too much for you?
I bought it from him for $5.
Oh, you bought it?
Yes, I said, yeah. It was worth like, it was only worth like $600-700.
You're a thief.
No, but I'll tell you what I did to make up for it, because I did feel bad. Okay. So I do work around his house, like his drain pipes and stuff was all leaking all over the place. So I went to Home Depot, I bought all the piping and stuff, and I rerouted all of his drains. I clean up his yard all the time.
Pray that neighbor is not listening to this podcast.
Oh, he's definitely not listening. But I happen to be a really good neighbor. Like, I do stuff like that. I'm always helping him every other day when the garbage people come. I haul his garbages out to the curb and like collect all of his recycling. Like, I do some good stuff. Anytime something breaks, I don't even tell him about it. I just fix it. And so I actually happen to be a very, I think a very good neighbor in that regard. So the Gibson guitar was sort of, I was looking at kind of like a reward for a lot of the work that I did. That was
work for you, but in the meantime,
well, I had already done a lot of work.
Watching your stuff.
No, I had done.
What would be the equivalent value?
He still got the better deal.
And into
He still got the better deal, even with that one Gibson guitar.
But by whose definition?
Mine, by my
Of
calculations.
course. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of.
Calculations?
Yes.
Yes.
John,
Yeah.
you are a crook. Doesn't matter how you turn it.
What are you gonna do? Check my pockets when I leave the studio, see if I walked away with any equipment?
Anything you want.
My aunt jokes around about that whenever she invites us over. She has beautiful like sterling silverware. So when they're collecting everything, my uncle's always looking like, where's the knife, the fork, the spoon? I want to make sure the whole set's there. Nothing went into your pocket. But I'm not, look, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, very different ball game. I'll be honest with you, I was not the best person. I didn't have much of a conscience. I did a lot of.
You still don't.
No, I do. Is a little. I do. But I was bad. As a teenager, I was really bad. And when you surround yourself by other people that are bad, the bad feeds off the bad, and it makes it so bad.
So how are you decluttering your life?
Well,
Because we hear you talking about decluttering the neighbors.
Yeah.
This one's like, well, how are you? How is John decluttering John's life?
So I explained a little bit how I did some human decluttering, paring back the friends to really a core group of people. I do tend to respond no.
What's your criteria when it comes to people?
Usually what I find in my life is that most of the friends that I really like and that I really genuinely enjoy being with are the ones that have history, meaning the ones that I've grown up with, people that have known me since we're kids, since elementary school, high school, college, whatever it is.
Jeez, I don't stand a chance.
Oh, no, not at all.
I'm gonna be decluttering.
You were decluttering me, I have to declutter you right back. It's a race to see who can declutter who.
I've just come around. They don't see me making the list.
So those are the people, because I find that there's a certain dynamic with friends. Like you have a friend, you have a very good friend for 40 years. I'm not going to say any names, but the bond you have with people like that have that history together with you. It's very difficult to replicate that with someone you meet in adulthood. I mean, you could meet great people in adulthood and make great friends, but there's a certain bond and a certain connection that you have with people that knew your grandparents, that knew your house where you grew up in, that knew all your friends from 5th grade and 6th grade and high school, and you had all those crazy experiences with growing up. Right. Lots of ugly, lots of bad, and a little bit of good.
No, there was no ugly in my life. Are you kidding?
No ugly in your life?
No ugly.
Well, I know some.
No bad.
I'm sure. I mean, you seem pretty squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And I know you're always taking me through some of your life history lessons and some of the things that you've done, people you've associated with, and
you're so
Yeah,
And
finish
you're
that.
so,
Impressed.
no, you say, your life is boring.
No, secretly I am jealous and I'm impressed. Very secretly. When I see the people that you've interviewed with, that you've congregated with, that you've associated with, these are people that probably wouldn't even talk to me on
No,
any level.
they wouldn't, they know how judgmental and cheap you are. And I'm like, no, let's talk about my declutter. I'm starting with you.
What? Really?
Yes?
3 podcasts in and I'm already being decluttered?
No, we'll just have a podcast association.
Well, isn't that pretty much all we have anyway?
Well, that's true. That's true. But
Yes.
you know, the thing is, sometimes we throw people away, and these people have come into our life to teach us lessons.
Right.
So we have to be careful with that, because some of the people who make us, who ruffle our feathers,
Mm-hmm.
are the people that have come into our lives to teach us something.
Right.
And what you're doing is you're throwing away the lesson. So it's really hard for me when it comes to decluttering. I try not to let that be someone, unless they have done something to
Wrong.
me that I over and over and over and over, like my 17-year friendship that I had to dissolve,
Well,
because you start to realize this person has no respect for you,
right.
or that all they're doing is taking and not appreciating.
Well, there are people that have problems showing their appreciation. I mean,
That's true, but in this case, in my case, that wasn't so.
well, I'm not
This
making
person
judgments.
took me for granted.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, are they? I guess they're not taking you for granted anymore now, are they?
They don't even know where in the world I am right now. They've been iced out.
Oh God, that's so.
You have to do things that you have to do to protect yourself.
Yes.
And at some point, people need to know that nobody sticks around forever if they're feeling disrespected. So I declutter people like that.
Right.
But for the most part, I have friends that I've known for 40 plus years and we're still very close. And I don't have any plans to declutter them. But John, you're in my declutter.
3 months in, goodbye. And even when you talk about icing out, like there's this look in your eyes that just you become like stone in your eyes, where it's just it's very hard.
Because I'm just, most people will tell you I'm very patient, very understanding, very kind. But I think the most patient person has a breaking point. And at some point, you have to demand respect if it's not being given.
Right.
So that's.
Well, you shouldn't have to demand respect. I mean, respect should just be, it should be sort of a natural.
With some people, you have to.
Well, those are people that should probably be decluttered.
Right.
Now, I noticed, like, even in the studio, I see that things are very neat and very organized. And I mean, it's your studio, not mine.
Studio, because we're both
until about
until you get ice.
15 minutes from now. I'm actually starting to pack things up now, just so that I can leave immediately. But I noticed that everything is in its place, everything is organized, everything is put away. There's nothing that's sitting out there and stuff. So,
but I keep my home very similar because I believe less is more. I hate clutter. When you walk into my house, everything is neat, looks like no one lives there. And people have said to me, I feel like I can't relax. Your house is so perfect. It's not perfect. It's a reflection of who I am. Right. The same way I dress myself, I keep my home, I keep my thoughts, I keep my friends. I like everything nice and neat and organized. And if you ask me for anything in my house, I know exactly where to go find it.
Oh my God, I'm the same way. Okay, so
stop.
No, I'm serious. Like one of my kids will call me, be like, do we happen to have a can of baked beans? I'm like, yeah. Second cabinet, right-hand side, third shelf, fourth can behind the front. I know exactly where everything is like that. Exactly, very well organized like that.
But I live by myself, so that helps. But when you live with other people, that's amazing. It means that when you put things somewhere, no one touches it. Well, they know because you're the big bad wolf.
Okay, so I'm gonna clue you into some crazy. You want to hear some crazy?
More than we already know. Tell us.
All right, there's a few things that I am very, very strict about in my house. So I'll give you a couple of examples. The mail. okay, when the mail comes and that mail is in the mailbox, I do not want anybody touching that mail. I want to come home from work at the end of the day and I want to find that mail in the mailbox exactly where it was placed by the mail. Are you allowed to say mail lady anymore? Mailman?
You can, male person.
Mail person? Is that like a thing? It's not mailman anymore or mail lady?
But if it's a man, it's a male man. If it's a woman, it's a male woman.
I know people take offense to these
At,
titles.
at my work, we have a male lady.
Mail lady. Oh, okay, fine. Sure.
Male who brings the mail.
Right. Okay. So, so that's one thing. Don't touch my mail. And everyone in my house knows you do not touch the mail. The next thing.
So anal about the mail.
Well, first of all, I pay the bills. I don't want things getting lost. I don't want things getting misplaced. I don't want things getting mistaken for junk mail.
Would you pay my bills, John?
If give me a checkbook, I'll write out all your checks. Of course I'll pay the bills. Ow! That hurt. Now the other thing.
Yeah.
The other thing. The dishwasher. Now you may think this is not like, okay, what do you mean the dishwasher? Like, what's the big deal with the dishwasher? When I load a dishwasher, this is a work of art. Not one
John,
thing.
I started to get the picture, and you are not somebody I would want around me outside of this podcast.
One day.
Are you anal retentive, John?
I don't know.
I think you are in some ways, by your own admission.
So this is the thing. If you want to see what I'm talking about, I want you to load your sink up with dishes. Let them collect for a couple of days. You probably aren't even capable of doing it. Everything has to be washed immediately.
No dirty dishes piled up in my
Okay,
sink.
so in my house, I say pile everything up. And when I get home from work, I will take care of the dishwasher. Now, I'm telling you, they could take this dishwasher when it's loaded, put it in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This dishwasher is immaculate. The silverware is all standing up in the right way. Everything's in its perfect spot. The dishes are lined up perfectly. Nothing is touching. Cups, everything's plate. The spatial relations. I'm known in my house as the master of spatial relations. The master of spatial relations. This thing is packed so beautifully and maximizing every inch of space. When it comes to going on vacation, suitcases, everyone knows. Bring the suitcases downstairs to the hallway. I'll take it from there. I could fit suitcases, volumes of suitcases into a trunk that no conceivable human being can possibly make this fit and work, and I do it. Again, master of spatial relations. So we talk, again, cluttering, decluttering. This is part of the way my mind works, where I'm able to fit things in, make things work, declutter this, make that fit, make it work. And it's just part of the makeup of how I am. So as we said, we could declutter people, we could declutter stuff. What else could be decluttered? You think of anything else that could be decluttered?
All the time, so.
What?
You better come up with it fast.
I don't have anything else. I thought you maybe had something.
I just believe that it's all relative when it comes to decluttering. Because something and someone that you and I may think shouldn't be in each other's lives,
right,
might be put in another person's life for a purpose, to teach them something.
Right.
So I think it's a personal thing, and I think if it's not serving your life, if it's hurting your life, you should get
eliminate it.
Yes.
Well, I think people make that decision every day in their marriages, in their work environment, where people are just not happy with certain things. And although a lot of times it's a struggle and a process to make those final determinations and decisions, I think ultimately when people make them, when they're not in good places, that it probably results in them improving their lives and being able to live a lot happier lifestyle. Am I right or wrong?
I agree.
You agree? You rarely agree with anything I say.
No, but I agree about this.
Okay.
So we thank you again for sharing your time listening to us while we share our views about this time decluttering your life. And I'm sure this is something that people do instinctively, because sometimes people force you to get them out. They just do something that you just know they can't stick around.
They gotta go.
Right. Or there are times in your life where you walk around your house and you're like, you know what? That thing has been sitting there long enough. I should get rid of it. And in my case, I go in the closet and I have a rule. If I don't wear something at least 2 years, it's time to get rid of it.
Hmm.
So less is more. That's my policy. If it's yours, hopefully Jon and I shared something tonight that might help you in your decluttering if it's something you feel a need for in your life.
Mental or physical?
Especially mental. I think it's really important to get rid of things that cause your brain to work unnecessarily. That's not adding benefit to your life.
Or actually could be hurting.
Or could be hurting
Or
your
could be
life.
hurting. Yes.
So once again, we thank you so much, and we will be back soon. Jon has a lot of edgy topics. So I'm looking forward to sharing him with you once more as we discuss those on another segment. Thank you.